So I just wanted to start with, I'm just going to let some slides go through with just some highlights, to me, some highlight quotes from the video that we just watched. So. I love this particular video. It's a new one just in the last month or so, and I love it so much because I felt like it highlighted so many different aspects of what we do and how what we do affects people's lives and their families and their community. And so those quotes, I feel like, point those things out a little bit more. You know, there are lots and lots of resource health stories, and each one is completely unique. But we get the opportunity every day because of people like you all to make a difference in our clients' lives and even across generations. Resource Health exists to offer compassionate care to women and men experiencing an unplanned pregnancy. And we work really hard to holistically empower the family unit through advocacy, education, mentoring, and discipleship. You may have noticed something strange in that video that we just watched. You might have noticed that all the logos that you read said Resource Health, but yet all the people were saying Rachel House. So yes, we had a big change, actually a couple changes last year. This one has created a little bit of a buzz. So how many of you are familiar with or have been familiar with Rachel House? And for a long, long time, I'm sure. And in fact, Rachel House, we're 30 years old this year. So we're celebrating 30 years this year, and we've been Rachel House since 1998. So about 25 years, so long, long time. And how many of you, I guess you did, because it's all in your packet, your prayer packet and your bulletin and everything, but had you realized that we had changed our name? Okay, that's good. It's good to know. So you might wonder why we chose to change our name, and I'd really like to give you some information about that. You know, every decision that we make, that our leadership makes at RH, is centered around these couple questions. How can we reach more, and how can we save more? And so, you know, 25 years ago, Rachel House was this warm and fuzzy name, and it meant something to people. But today, 25 years later, there's a whole bunch of organizations out there that have the word house in them, that do completely different stuff than what we do. And our culture is different now. There's not nearly the biblical frame of reference in our culture that there used to be. And so people in general don't have that biblical frame of reference. So when people that we most want to serve, women and men, particularly women, let's say at this point, in the conversation, who are figuring out that they might be pregnant, and that's not what they were planning for and really not what they want, and they're in distress over that, when they Google help for that situation and Rachel House comes up, they don't know who Rachel is, and they're not looking for a house. Right? So they are looking for medical professionals who can help them and give them long-term care and give them resources for the situation that they're in, what feels like a crisis to them, and is a crisis, actually. We also have started serving men on a regular basis. Since 2017, we've had a fatherhood program. We even have fatherhood education since 2018. And this doesn't communicate very well to men that we're here to serve them, right? So because of that, As of April of last year, we are now called Resource Health. And we feel like this name really much more communicates, much more better how we can serve the people that are looking for help and what we have to offer them. And so our hope is that this will help us to attract more people who would be turned off by the name Rachel House simply because they just don't even know what it is. So we want to be known as a medical and sexual health services provider, and we want to be a trusted organization that people can come to for those kinds of services. So you can see we kept the RH and we kept our branding colors, and that's all familiar to us, and we like that. So, but we feel like the name says a lot more exactly what we do. The second step we took last year to help us reach more and save more was to expand the services that we offer at all 4 of our locations. So, oh, you can't read that very well, I don't think. I'm sorry about that. The services that we have offered, I'll tell you what they say. Pregnancy tests, advocacy for women and men, ultrasound, education and case management for women, fatherhood education, resources and referrals to any community services our clients might need, and mentoring. We're even offering now one-on-one mentoring for our clients. And so we offer a lot of services that are related to pregnancy. But I don't think you'll be surprised to hear me say that we consider Planned Parenthood to be a competitor of ours. We know that many women and men who we would love to serve are going to Planned Parenthood for various sexual health related services, sometimes long before they find themselves in an unplanned pregnancy. They're going for other kinds of services. And when they do become pregnant then, they're familiar with Planned Parenthood, and that's where they return. So we want them to come to us. We want to be the first choice for women and men who are at risk for choosing abortion in our community. We want to be able to tell them the truth about their babies, and we want to be able to tell them the truth about Jesus, and we want to be able to encourage them and help them through. So experience tells us that once a client comes through our doors, they feel valued and cared for, and they're going to return for the services that we provide. So although we would never offer many of the services that Planned Parenthood provides, we believe there's value in offering testing and treatment for sexually transmitted diseases. I don't know if you realize, but STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, are at an epidemic level right now in our country. There are millions of new diagnoses every year, and the need for education and treatment is great. So we want to bring people in to be tested, and then we'll have them come back for the results of their tests. It gives us multiple times to get to the opportunity to visit with them. We've developed educational materials that deal with issues of sexual integrity and biblical purity that we can use with them. And our hope is that by offering testing and treatment for the most common STDs, we'll have more opportunities to accomplish our mission to serve abortion-minded women and men, even before they're seeking an abortion. On the other hand, if we get the chance to talk with our STD clinic clients about their worth as children of God, about sexual integrity, and about Jesus, maybe they'll never have to come to us for help with pregnancy help services. And wouldn't that be cool to be able to make an impact before even that other little life is involved? We would love to be able to do that. We have 4 locations in the Kansas City metro, and from these 4 locations in our first year of offering an STD clinic, so we started offering those services in June of last year. So just for 6 months, we served 377 women and men in that STD clinic. already. So our hope is that we'll have more and more of those women and men come through our doors. And you can imagine this is going to be a very, very diverse group of people that we're going to be seeing and getting the opportunity maybe to talk to them about Jesus even. So we're really excited about that. The number is growing every week. In the pregnancy resource side of our work, in 2020, let's see, we gave 2,201 pregnancy tests to women. We served 458 men. We performed 1,388 ultrasounds. And I don't know if you know this statistic, but the national statistics tell us that if a woman is vulnerable to choosing abortion and she goes to some other women's health clinic first, 80% of the time she will choose to abort. But if she comes someplace like Resource Health where she gets the opportunity to see her baby on ultrasound and see what she's really dealing with, then 80% of the time she'll choose life. So we got the opportunity in 2020 to perform 1,388 ultrasounds at our 4 locations. We had 325 clients in 2020 graduate from education. And for women, that's a 20-week program. It's half of those weeks are case management and half are classes. And so the case management portion is an opportunity for us to talk one-on-one with her and really deal with exactly what it is that she needs in her life right now. Does she need to go back to school? Does she need a place to live? Does she need help with her utilities this month? What is it that she needs? Does she need help writing a resume or trying to get a job? And we get the opportunity to encourage her. And we're really trying with the education piece to equip women and men to be better prepared to parent that little baby. Or even if they want to make an adoption plan, still the education can help equip them for that as well. Because you're still being a parent even if you're placing your child for adoption. We had 42 clients in 2020 who connected in a one-on-one mentoring relationship. That's a really exciting statistic because we tell our clients that all of our mentors are Jesus followers just like we are. And so the idea that 42 of our clients who were in education chose to be matched with a believing mentor and have a continuing ongoing relationship with that person is really exciting to us. That's somebody who will give them a point of stability in their lives, have the opportunity to invite them to go to church, and maybe surround them with a believing community that can continue to provide support over time. And then we got to have gospel conversations with almost 1,900 individuals face to face in 2020. So we know that our eternal lives are of vast importance. The life of that little baby is very important. The little baby in the womb, of course, is very, very important. But our eternal lives hold a lot of importance, of vast importance. And so every opportunity that we get, we will share Christ with our clients, and we're looking for those opportunities. You can tell by the fact that we served about 2,700 women and men that we don't push this on people. It's not just a sitting down and just sharing a tract in a way that isn't meaningful or watching for the Holy Spirit to lead. So we do try to make sure that we have a real organic opportunity to share Christ, but we are looking for every opportunity, and we're very intentional about that. So that's one of my favorite statistics, actually. So. Oh, not yet. Not yet. Okay. So recently we had a client who was homeless and pregnant. She was grieving from a recent past abortion. She didn't feel stable enough to have a baby, but she also told us she didn't want to be tormented by another abortion. So she was in a lot of distress. We talked with her about the immense amount of love and forgiveness that God has for her, about how she can heal and grieve in a healthy way. We gave her resources for housing and scheduled an appointment for an ultrasound. And then our advocate asked for permission to pray over her. And with her approval, they bowed their heads and prayed over her life, past, present, and future, and the life of her new baby. And then after they prayed, our client opened her eyes full of tears and said, I've never had anyone pray for me before. It's experiences like this that remind us that Resource Health is more than just a pregnancy resource center. We're more than just a sexual health organization. We are part of eternity, and you all are part of that work by the way that you come around and come alongside us and support us in that. So I just want to thank you so much for that. I want to open the floor for questions. Now I'll pull that up. And Pastor, what time do you usually like to end? What should I be shooting for time-wise? Quarter till or? Okay. Okay. Well, if it's going too long, you stop me. Okay. So yeah, what questions do any of you have that I can answer for you? Yeah.
How do they get connected with you most of the time? Is it like online mostly?
Yeah, I think probably a lot of our clients do find us by Googling. So if they Google even abortion or pregnancy test, we've got those metrics set up so that we'll pop up to the top of that list. And then we are working really hard now to get the word out to hospitals and medical clinics, the health department, schools, especially now that we're offering the STD portion as well. There's a lot more people that we can serve. And so that's going to help us stay top of mind, I think, where people aren't just, schools aren't just waiting until there's somebody who is experiencing a pregnancy in the school, but they know that we offer services that can serve more people. So we're working hard to get the word out like that. People can, we have had in the past a whole lot of word of mouth that has contributed to people finding us because Rachel House has a really great reputation. So that's another really important part of it, is to make sure that you all realize people that would refer people to Rachel House know that we're Resource Health now, that we're still doing the same thing. We have the same mindset and the same mission, the same ministry. We just changed our name and we expanded our services. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, sir.
How many people do you have that are professionals that work in the, like doctors, professional counselors?
Thank you. Thanks for asking that question. So we have about 40 people on staff right now, and all of our locations are managed by nurses, RNs. So every location always has an RN present, and then there are other nurses as well, especially since we opened the STD clinic. Now we need more than one nurse on several days a week at each of our locations. So that's the way that we are on a day-to-day basis managed with medical personnel. But we do have a medical advisory board that really works closely with our staff and our nurses and our leadership, advising us and making sure that we're on track and doing things the correct way. And then we have one medical director whose physician's license we work underneath. We operate underneath his license, yeah. Thank you.
Do you get a lot of help from certain medical doctors' offices as far as being supportive of what you're doing?
So
these girls a different opportunity than you know, if they're in distress because they're pregnant and they're not happy about it.
yeah, so
help from the doctors.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people, if a woman is vulnerable to choosing abortion, she doesn't go to a gynecologist first or an obstetrician first. She will be seeking an abortion is what she's going to do. Yeah. Or Planned Parenthood, or just Googling, searching and trying to figure out what her options are. So, but we do have doctors who are starting to come alongside us. Some family practice offices that are passing out our educational materials that we utilize in our STD clinic, and they're talking to their patients about some of the things that we're trying to teach and educate on in our STD clinic, and who will refer to us for testing. Our health department, that part of our health department, from what I hear, is overrun right now with people waiting in very, very long lines to get tested and treated for the STDs. And so we are getting the word out more so that more and more doctors' offices will refer their patients to us, and we can serve in that way. Yeah. Hi, yeah.
What is your position?
Oh, thank you. I'm called a development associate, or I work on the development team. And I think what development means in that regard is we are developing relationships in the community, and and so it's my job and the people on my team to help people know what we do and be more aware of what it is that we do at Resource Health, so that we'll have people who will pray for us, people who will apply for jobs, people who will help us financially, and with also some material gifts and things like that. So that's my job. Yes. Yeah.
So how would you handle, okay, say a college school, so college female,
Mm-hmm.
and she's in there to say become a doctor, okay? And she end up pregnant through,
Mm-hmm.
and you know because she's in college, she really can't afford to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So how would y'all go about that? Would y'all give her like medical, like a behavioral health person to kind of talk to her? Because I know she thinking I can't have no baby right now. I'm gonna go to college. This is not in my program.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, and we see women like that a lot. So, and over the years, we have a lot. And what we do for any woman who comes to us, because no matter what her situation is, if she's going to college or if she's in high school or she's not even doing all that well, if she has an unplanned pregnancy, it's terrifying, and she thinks it's going to ruin her life, and no matter what her life trajectory is. So we like to have the opportunity to offer to come alongside her. First of all, in advocacy, we just want to be able to help her take a step back and breathe a little bit. And let's just talk about all the options that are available to you. So we want to make sure that whatever choice she makes, that she knew she had a choice. Because a lot of women in that situation would come to us thinking she only has one choice, and that's to abort. But we know that that's not her only choice. We're not going to pressure her or coerce her or point a shaming finger at her, but we're going to try to help her to take a breath and take a little time, and let's talk through all your options and what this might look like. So that's where we're going to start. And then we'll offer her an ultrasound so that she can make a really educated decision. And then if she decides that she's going to carry her baby, then we'll offer to come alongside of her throughout her whole pregnancy and help her navigate those life choices that she's going to have to make now. And how can she, is it going to take her off the path from college for this year, but then we're going to try to talk to you about how you can get back on track, or what? And every situation is different. Yeah.
so what if you do talk her out of it, but she decides that she will carry the baby for the term,
Mm-hmm.
the baby, but she want to get the baby up for the house?
So that's a valid option, isn't it? And we have two adoption agencies that work alongside us. I mean, they're not we're not tied to them, but they partner with us. And they have agreed to come to Resource Health and have that conversation with her. So that I've recently talked to a woman who said that she experienced an unplanned pregnancy and she was terrified about the adoption issue because she didn't know who to trust. And so we believe that when they come to us and they are developing a relationship with us, they've come to trust us and know us. So when we invite in an adoption agency, they know they can trust those people as well. So yeah, that's how we do that. Thank you for those questions.
The only thing that I ever had any contact with Rachel about was several years ago when I first came here to this church.
Mm-hmm.
A friend lost a baby and asked me, I've got some stuff that I can donate.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to keep it around. She said, could someone in your church use it? And that's when I found out that they support Rachel House. So that's the only time I've ever had any contact with them, when they were from Blue Ridge in that little shopping area.
Oh, uh-huh.
I took it was a car seat.
Uh-huh.
Fairly new one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the lady that I met at the window, she said, we try not to be discriminating about people donating stuff that's older, but there are rules as far as like car seats.
Yeah.
They have to meet a certain standards. And she said, this one's brand new. And I said, yeah, she never got to use it.
Yeah.
And this is marvelous. They're providing diapers, layettes for the baby, sometimes beds if they don't have any access.
Yeah, we and everything that we give our clients is new. So that's one thing that we want to make sure that our clients know, that they're valued and they're children of God, and we value them, and we want to make sure and give them nice things, which a lot of used things are very, very nice, and gently used items can be very, very nice too. But that's kind of a standard that we have set, is we want to give just new things. But we do, our education is incentive driven. So every time she comes for a class or a case management visit, she goes away with things for baby. Like you said, diapers and wipes and clothes and bottles and all kinds of things. And when she graduates, or dad, when he graduates from the fatherhood education, both of them get their choice of either a pack and play or a car seat.
Makes it real.
Yeah. And we've had clients who told us that the things that they took home from Resource Health when they had their baby, that stuff lasted them for like the first 3 months of their baby's life. So we really are trying to set them up for success as much as possible. And then that added mentoring part, I'm so excited about that part, because when somebody takes advantage of that, then when we have to turn around and serve the next pregnant woman, somebody else can continue to help and provide support. And I really, really love that we're being able to do that now. By the way, that is a volunteer opportunity. And if any of you are interested in hearing more about being a one-on-one mentor, I would love to tell you about that. And I can give you my business card, and we can email back and forth or call and talk maybe next week about that. But I'd love to give you more information. It's a very organic relationship. We provide a little bit of training, and we'll provide support if there's ever a question or something that you're encountering with a client that you don't know how to deal with. You can call Resource Health. But other than that, once you have that little bit of training, then we just want you to have a friendship, build a friendship with that person. And our hope is that you'll continue that relationship for at least a year, but really we'd love it if it became a lifelong friendship. So if you're interested in hearing more about becoming a mentor, I would love to talk with you about that. Any other? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Vanessa?
Okay, so did you say how many places are you in, like how many?
We have 4 locations. So we have one in Lee Summit, one in Independence, the Northland, and one on Blue Parkway, real close to Swope Health. We are most likely going to be opening a 5th location this year. And where we're looking, we don't know yet, we don't have a lease or anything, but we're looking at the Redbridge area. So it'll be pretty close to here. Redbridge.
Redbridge. Oh, that's good. That's in this area.
Yeah.
Next
Yes.
question. What if a person is out of town? Can they come into?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
A lot of places might not have a place like you.
Exactly. Yeah.
They can't come from out of town.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Now, that might make it hard to take advantage of education and things like that, like weekly classes. But if they can get here, we are happy to serve them. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that brings up a big follow-up. You guys network nationwide. Do you have, like, suppose someone's passing through and they're in California or something, do you have, like, resources that you might be able to draw on in California?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question. But I do know that we are part of a network of pregnancy help centers. So I would imagine that there's some way we can find out answers to questions like that if we ever have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I bet we have.
Are the facilities open, and is there like a 24-hour number of these young women are given in case they immediately need someone to talk to?
So if they're in our system and we're serving them in education or whatever, I believe they can reach out to their nurse or their education coordinator if they need them at any time. I believe so. I'm not positive about that. Definitely their mentor, that would be a really great part of that mentoring relationship. But as far as somebody who isn't in our system yet, finding us, we do have a chat line on our website. So we do offer some support that way. Our centers are open. Not every center is open every day, but between the 4 centers, we are open Monday through Friday. One of them at least, well, probably 3 of them are open every day, Monday through Friday. And usually like between 9 and 5 or 6. So some of them, so one day, one of our centers might close at 4, but there's always one center that's open until 6 as well, so. We're trying to be available as much as possible. Any other questions?
How are you funded?
Oh, thank you for that question. We are funded mostly by individuals and some churches and businesses that believe in what we do. Probably 75% of our funding comes from just individuals and businesses and people like you, churches like yours. We do have one grant from the state of Missouri, which is pretty amazing. It's called Alternatives to Abortion. And yes, isn't that amazing? And it exists to help places like ours who do education. It helps us with the education portion of what we're doing. And really what they're trying to do is give women, equip women and men to be better parents so that children will stay out of the system and so that they will feel like they don't have to choose abortion as well. So we do receive that grant, use that for a lot of our education pieces. We're very thankful for that.
One of the things I really like about the program is that now they got education for the men also.
Yes.
A lot of these broken relationships are because the men aren't educated.
Yeah, and then the men, so many of the men that we see don't have father figures. Yeah. And so, we used to have our fatherhood education was 8 weeks long. 8 weeks is all. And several of the men who have gone through that education program have told our educator that he's the closest thing they've ever had to a dad. So but we're happy to be able to provide that though, and to have them come into this group of men who, Hugh, who was on the video, the big guy with the little bitty baby, he in his in the full length of video where he's telling his story, he says, it's so nice because now I'm in a group where there's another dad and another dad and another dad just like me who just want to be the best fathers they can be. And so, and then in those fatherhood education classes, we can have 5 guys in there that range from 16 to 40. But they are all in the same situation together, and they're learning from each other, and it's a really sweet, special thing. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Well, I just want to tell you all thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you. And I want to invite you to come for a tour. If you have friends in the church who weren't able to come today, get together with them with a group and and contact me and come for a tour. It takes about 1 hour. It can be faster if we need it to be, but usually with questions and everything, it takes about an hour. And you can see where we do what we do and help share with your friends what you heard today. And I would love to do that. So please make sure and contact me if you want to do that. I'm going to leave you with some faces.